That's not a good sign when the digger's on its way round to the workshop. It generally means something's broken. Luckily there's nothing wrong with it, it's just getting a really good greasing, so Sam's just on with that now. Rob's been keeping an eye on the chipper because it's been acting up like it always does, so he's just been doing some double chip, and the lake is still there. Got the jump back bateman, because it always seems to do is move it from one shed to another shed to another shed out of the way, because it's not done a day's work for ages now. Won't start, so I'm going to jump start it, clean it out. I think I can remember what I did last, and I've looked at my spray records, but it's been that long. I'm just to make sure I'm going to give it a rinse out, because I'm going to go and spray some rape for Bill, and I don't want to make any mistakes and kill his rape. So I'll give it a rinse. I think it was rinsed last time, and I also think last thing I sprayed was rape. But just to be on the safe side, it's definitely worth doing. Quick jump start, and she's running. Is she a she or is she a he? I was on the phone to Bateman actually before about something else, and they were calling him it's a he, but I thought it'd be a she. So what do you think? Should a Bateman be? So it says Bateman. Should it be a boy or should it be a girl? Just washing the water out now on this headland. It's got a little bit of grass weeds on it, so it won't matter if there's a trace in it, it'd kill it anyway. But it took me ages to set the sprayer up. I'd forgotten how to drive it. I had one of the buttons in the wrong place on the screen up there, because I was doing it manually. I was like, why won't it turn on? So I got out and checked all the taps were right and everything was working. Got back in, scratched my head, and then realised what it was. Anyway, all good now. So get the tank empty, then use the wash tank, wash it with the wash tank, and then it's all good for tomorrow. Completely clean. I think it was anyway, but like I say, just checking. Went up to the inn at Whitewell last night with Charlotte for her birthday. So there's a little bit of that. This is the inn at Whitewell with a river behind it, which we're going to go and have a look at now. And the church. Look at this car, it's got a flick paint on it, so it looks green. It looks blue. It's green. And it's blue. That mint. These are the famous stepping stones, but the river's too high. Stepping stones were sort of just in the river there and runs right round the back. I wonder if that place is on high alert at the moment, because that would be a target if we were to get dragged into the water. Yeah, so that was the inn at Whitewell. Supposed to be a bit of a surprise for her birthday, but because she looked like she was going to make plans, I had to tell her that we were going beforehand, so there wasn't really much of a surprise. Sorry, it's beeping. And then World War III broke out in the morning, which took up a lot of my time trying to work out what grain markets there were, and then also had a guy from the Times on the phone wanting to know what was going on, so I think there's an article tomorrow in the Times about that. And then as soon as I got there, there'd been a problem at the yard, so someone made me aware of that, so that meant then that all I was thinking about was what's going on back at home. So this morning all I wanted to do was get back, so kind of wasn't worth going. I don't know whether we'll get the chance again now, because it took me 3 years to get round to going anyway, and with it being obviously due on the 7th of May, then pregnant obviously, then it's a boy, because a few people have asked, they mustn't have watched the Bateman reveal. So because of that, yeah, came back this morning, so back at it. But really nice place, and if we do get the chance to go back, hopefully the river will be a bit lower and I'll be able to go across them stepping stones, because they were quite high. Just washing out now, so basically I'm pumping clean water from one of the other tanks into the sprayer, and then I'll bring it out of the other tank, so we can do 2 rinses, so it'll have 3 triple rinses plus what I did last time. Anyway, while I'm doing that, I'll just explain to you how we do it. We just basically flip these switches up there. But no, the guy from the Times was really interested in the fertiliser scenario. So if you imagine that fertiliser is now 200% dearer than it used to be, I think it's actually in the Farmers Weekly, in the Farmers Guardian this week, about that and why I challenged Joyce Eustace on it. But this is the thing, right? Have a little thing, get your head around this. 30% of the wheat that Europe eats comes out of the Ukraine. Now, is that going to get sown? Is that going to come out of the Ukraine? Is Putin going to claim it for his own people? Are they going to have the fertilizer to grow it themselves, or is the infrastructure completely knackered? So if you're Europe and you basically might have 30% less grain coming to eat, then your fertilizer supplies are restricted, which give you 60% of your yield. If you had 60 to 30, potentially there could be, if there was no fertilizer, so it's worst case, but I mean, bad things are happening, worse things are happening. Who would have thought this time last year, a war in Europe? So 90% of your wheat or other crops that need fertilizer to grow that come out of the Ukraine might not be there. Only 10% of the wheat to feed Europe. That's a scary thought, isn't it? That is why we should have a UK agricultural fertilizer policy, strategy, government-owned factory. Who knows? But at the moment, there's only 2 in the UK pretty much. And one is definitely shut, and the other one looks like it's going to close again because they only kept it open for the CO2. Now, it's very short-sighted of the government to just think, oh, it's all right, you can go and use other organic manures. There isn't any. They're just not there. Any organic manure people are using, because fertilizer has been expensive for years, and we use it. It's just, there's just not enough to go around, and synthetic fertilizers are responsible for 60% of yield. So in other words, if you get a 10 ton an acre crop, take your synthetic fertilizer away, you get a 4 ton an acre crop. Now, I know some organic farmers will say, no, we can grow 7-8 ton crops organically. They may be able to, but for 2 years before they grow that organic crop of wheat, they've grown clover or other nitrogen fixing crops to get that yield. But to consistently get wheat to yield, we need synthetic fertilizer. And the whole modern world is built on the fact that we worked out how to make fertilizer from gas. Is it something Bosch method? I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, someone will know. Put it below if you do. But that is just a bit of a thought, just to leave everyone with, to think, well, not leave you with, because we've not finished the video for today, but just have a little think about that. 90% reduction if worse things happen. It's not good, is it? I mean, what will that do to prices? They have actually dropped today a little bit compared to what the highs they had yesterday, but I can only see them going one way. Just had a phone call about someone. We were talking about this whole Ukraine situation and different things, and whether it's going to be whether the UK could be attacked, not really with weaponry, but with cyber attacks and things like that. And I do know a friend of mine works for a company that manufactures things. I won't say what they are, but they had a cyber attack 2 years ago, and they reckon that had come out of Russia. Anyway, if you look there, I've written 1918 to 1970. So in Britain, between 1917 and 1980, we had 2 world wars, 2 real long wars. And it's the same time now. That sort of same time frame of 1970 to 2022 is now. So in that period, you had all that unrest, and it's kind of been pretty settled since then. And then now, we've obviously got this happening. It's really scary, the fact that this time we aren't very self-sufficient with food. So if anyone at DEFRA or anyone that's got any sort of importance is watching these videos, just have a little think about food security when you're talking about paying people to plant wildflowers, or take land out of production and rewild. Just think that we're 60-something% self-sufficient when we used to be 78-90% self-sufficient going back years. Food and energy. And you need energy to grow food, because you can convert energy into either putting in stuff in the ground, or if it's gas, turn it into fertilizer. That is very important for keeping a modern country fed, and even water, I suppose, moving water around. So I think we need some sort of fertilizer policy to look after things. Quickly do the birthday bumpers. Charlie Smith, 3 days late. It's because your mum texts me the day before rather than on the morning of. So text me the morning of, otherwise it gets lost. Anyway, Adrian Lee, Chris Hipkiss, Nigel Beaver and Callum McIntyre, happy birthday. Quick quiz question for you. Does anyone know what this is? What's inside? Might have been a bit of a giveaway because it says something on the sticker, which I didn't notice till after we recorded it. But if you think you know, leave a comment below. That is it for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Normal business will be resumed tomorrow because I will be spraying, hopefully. Some geese flying over there. I hope they're not going to the oilseed rape because the oilseed rape has started to grow, so I will show you that tomorrow. I drove past the field today on the sprayer, couldn't stop too many cars, but yeah, we put that fertilizer on now 2 weeks ago, was it? On a Friday we finished it, and it's just growing nice. Got a bit of heat as well. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Oh, by the way, how are you today? I'm about 80%, but that's 10 more than this morning.